Till now we have studied the volcanoes, distribution of the volcanoes in the world, and how are the volcanic eruptions occurring. Now when the volcanic eruptions are occurring, we also studied what are the different type of volcanic eruptions in the terms of shallow volcanic eruptions and in the terms of violent volcanic eruptions. So, and we have related it with the plate tectonic theory, that how does the shallow volcanic eruption affect how does the plate tectonic theory explains the shallow volcanic eruption, where do the shallow volcanic eruptions takes place, and how it is different from the violent volcanic eruptions. Now coming to the next part of our topic, which is very important, though in your books you will find this topic mentioned in the chapter of rocks. I am taking it here so that there is a continuity in the volcanic landforms. We will be doing an important topic known as landforms made by the volcanoes. So, the landforms which are formed by the volcanic eruption is the next topic. What are the different kind of landforms made by an volcanic eruption? Whenever the volcanic eruption occurs, now what is your idea of a general kind of a landform made by a volcanic eruption? See, in anywhere in the world there is a sedimentary rock. The sedimentary rocks, we will do this thing in detail again while doing the chapter of rocks. You just remember there are three different kind of rocks. One is the igneous rock, which is formed from the fire. Fire means volcanoes. So volcanoes will result into kind of an igneous rocks. Second, some of the rocks after they are formed, they are brought down by the agents of erosion, compacted by the different materials, maybe water, maybe different kind of materials will cement together to form a different kind of a rock. So these are the rocks which have been formed due to breaking down of the original rock structure. Such rocks are known as sedimentary rocks. The third kind of a rock, the parent rock, maybe it is subjected to extreme pressure. For example, if a parent rock is below a mountain, or the parent rock is below a man-made structure such as a big dams, or it is subjected to extreme temperature. For example, if there is a rock structure and it is being subjected, if this is an original rock and suddenly there is a volcanic eruption in between, then the rock in this surrounding region where the volcano is flowing will be subjected to extremely high heat, that is this part of the rock and this part of the rock. So when you know that if you take a paper, burn it, its property changes. So whenever there is a change in the property of the existing rock due to extreme pressure or due to extreme temperature, it is known as metamorphic rock. Now, so today we are going to study the landforms made by volcanic eruption. The volcanic eruption means fire, molten rock material. So these landforms which are made by volcanic eruption are nothing but the igneous rocks which are found on the earth. So we are doing one type of a rock structure which is an igneous rock. So the volcanoes result into after the magma, volcanoes result into upwelling of magma. It flows as a lava. The lava then solidifies, giving us the igneous rocks. If the lava means, when I say lava solidifies, then you should remember that anything outside the surface of the earth. When I say magma solidifies, you should know that it's anything inside the surface of the earth. So in this bedding plains of sedimentary rock, the sedimentary rocks are generally arranged in a parallel manner on the surface of the earth. On this bedding plains of the sedimentary rock, suppose there is a volcanic eruption from the mantle. The volcano rises from the mantle, and after some time it rises and it comes up. It will result into formation of either volcanic mountain. It may result into formation of a volcanic plateau. That is, what is a plateau? A flat tableland having a steep side. So it will result into formation of a volcanic plateau. Or sometimes the magma may be solidified inside the surface of the earth in different forms. So it may take a lens shape, it may take a perpendicular shape, it may take different shapes. So based on this, just a general idea. So that means the volcanic landforms which are formed on the surface of the earth, they can be formed outside the surface of the earth, or they can be formed inside the surface of the earth. When a volcano is such that it cannot reach the surface of the earth, maybe because it is not that fluid, it is more viscous. What volcano is more, what magma is more viscous? We have done it. Acidic magma is more viscous. So acidic magma, because it is very viscous, it does not reach the surface of the earth and it solidifies inside the surface of the earth, resulting into the forms of landforms known as intrusive landforms. While on some magma may reach the surface of the earth and get solidified after flowing for a larger distance. Now, which magma has a greater chance of reaching the surface of the earth? It is the basic magma, that is the basaltic magma. Why? Because it is more fluid. So it will result into kind of a landforms which are outside of the surface of the earth, and therefore they are known as extrusive landforms. Now this volcanic landforms, just this is a general idea. If you are not very clear, I will come to it again while doing the rocks. But just you know that the landforms made by the volcanic eruption are of two types. Intrusive, that is when the magma solidifies inside the surface of the earth, or extrusive, that is the magma after coming on the surface of the earth, it solidifies. So we are going to study two kind of landforms, that is intrusive landforms and the extrusive landforms. So the volcanic landforms can be divided into intrusive landforms and extrusive landforms. So what is the differentiation? What is the difference between the intrusive landforms and the extrusive landforms? Intrusive landforms they are the result of first cooling and solidification of magma. Cooling and solidification of magma or molten material below the surface of the earth. Again, what is intrusive landform? When the magma or lava solidifies below the surface of the earth, these are known as intrusive landforms. So solidification of magma or lava below the surface of the earth results into formation of an intrusive landforms. While the extrusive landforms are those landforms in which, not magma here, lava, due to cooling and solidification of lava above the surface of the earth. It results from cooling and solidification of lava due to above the surface of the earth. Now the extrusive landforms or intrusive, this both cooling and solidification of a lava results into anything when it is cooled and solidified, it will result into formation of a crystals. One of the basic characteristics of the igneous rocks are they are crystalline rocks. That is, these are the rocks which are having crystals. Just have a brief idea here. I will come to again when I will teaching you the rocks. Now, the crystalline rocks, igneous rocks are crystalline rocks. They are having small crystals. Why is this crystals? The crystals are formed due to cooling and solidification of hot molten water. Take your water and put it in the freezer. or put it in a very fast freezer. You will see the difference of what I am talking. If you put it in a normal freezer, it will cool very slowly, and as a result of it, there will be some large crystals which will be formed on the water when it turns into ice. You put it in extra fast freezer, which comes into nowadays in most of the refrigerators, there is a compartment in which there is a fast ice making shelf. You put there, and you see the difference of the water there. There you will have very small crystals. So the igneous rocks are the crystalline rocks. So this intrusive and extrusive landforms, that is, they are formed due to volcanic eruption. That means they are igneous rocks. These are also crystalline. Now if the question comes to you in the examination that which rock is more crystalline, intrusive or extrusive, what will be your answer? Apply your logic. Where is more heat, inside the surface of the earth or outside the surface of the earth? We have studied it is inside the surface of the earth. Outside there is not much major heat as compared to the inside surface of the earth. So the landform which is formed inside, that is intrusive landforms, they are having larger crystals than the extrusive landforms. Why? The difference is because the intrusive landforms are cooled and solidified very slowly. As a result, there is more time for the development of crystals on the rock, resulting into this being more crystalline rocks. On the other hand, the extrusive landforms, they are cooled at a very, very slow rate. The extrusive landforms, they are cooled at a very fast rate on the surface of the earth, resulting into formation of a smaller crystals. Why? Because there is no time for the development of the crystals. Fast rate of cooling, therefore very small crystals. Very extremely slow rate of cooling, therefore large crystals. How do you apply this in your practical life? There are two types of rocks which are major igneous rocks, which you are going to study which you should know as a general study student. One is a basaltic rock, while the other is granitic rock. Granite you must have seen in your house. You remember that granite is an intrusive landform, intrusive igneous rock. So you see the granite, there will be large amount of crystals on it. On the other hand, if you are ever going to the Deccan Plateau region, if you are ever going to the Western Ghat region, if you ever go to the famous hill stations of the Western Ghat region, you see the basalt rock, or you can Google it, see the basalt rock. It will be black color rock where the crystals will not be visible. Why is that? Because you remember that basalt is an extrusive landforms. So intrusive landforms example granite results into formation of larger crystals. The deeper the intrusive landform, more larger will be the crystals. The closer the intrusive landform to the surface, it will be cooled at a relatively faster rate compared to the deeper rock. As a result, the crystals will be smaller. On the surface of the earth, crystals will be still smaller. So as a result of this, the igneous landforms or the volcanic landforms are known as igneous rocks. Igneous rocks can be classified into intrusive rocks and extrusive rocks. We will again do this in rocks. So these are classified into intrusive landforms and the extrusive landforms. The intrusive landforms are crystalline, while the extrusive landforms are also crystalline, but the difference is larger crystals, smaller crystals. The best example I see, look at your floor. If it is a granitic floor, you will see there are crystals on it. On the other hand, basaltic rock won't have much crystals on it. So these are the two different kind of landforms. So what you have to remember, intrusive landforms are having larger crystals, due to slow rate of cooling, are having larger crystals due to the slow rate of cooling of magma inside the earth. Here, as the magma cools at a faster rate, lava cools at faster rate, there is less time for development of crystals and therefore smaller crystals are formed. Therefore smaller crystals are formed. What is the best example of intrusive landform? As I told you, example is granite rock. Here the example is basalt. Here the example is basalt. These are the two landforms. So you should, when you say basalt, you should know that when the word basalt is asked, you should know that it is an extrusive landform, form of a basic lava. When you say granite, acidic, intrusive landforms. So when you say intrusive, that means larger crystals. Extrusive, that means smaller crystals are formed. Now the intrusive landforms are further divided into two types based on where they are located. They are further divided into plutonic landforms and into hypabasal landforms. So these are the two types of intrusive landforms, that is the plutonic landforms and the hypabasal landforms. So now in a Greek mythology, word Pluto, the god, there is a god Pluto, and god Pluto represents underworld, that is the world which is deep inside the earth. So Lord Pluto or god Pluto is a god of deep inside the earth, and hence the rocks which are formed deep inside the earth are known as plutonic landforms. While the rocks, again which rocks? Intrusive rocks, which are found near the surface of the earth, but again beneath the surface but nearby the surface of the earth, are known as hypabasal landforms. So we can say it is like this. If this is the surface of the earth, the landforms, igneous landforms which are found near the surface of the earth, they will be known as hypabasal landforms, which will be formed deep inside the surface, inside the earth. They are known as plutonic landforms. If this is the entire earth, so this will be the plutonic landforms. Why plutonic? Because the name is derived from the god Pluto, who is the god of fire, god of underworld, and here this, near the surface of the earth, they are hypabasal landforms. While outside the surface of the earth, this will be extrusive landforms. So plutonic landforms are, what is the classification? What plutonic landforms are formed very, very deep inside the surface of the earth. While the hypabasal landforms are formed near just beneath, or we can say near the surface of the earth, or just below the surface of the earth. So the difference between plutonic is very deep inside the earth and just below the surface of the earth. Now the next question comes is in the terms of crystals. In the terms of the crystals, which landform will be more crystalline? Plutonic landforms or hypabasal landforms? What you know about the crystals? Jitna deep inside the surface of the earth, more time because of more heat inside the surface, so larger crystals. Based on this analogy, plutonic landforms will be having more crystals. Just below the surface of the earth, less heat and therefore comparatively smaller crystals. Therefore, in this too, the hypabasal will be having comparatively smaller crystals. Smallest crystals outside the surface of the earth in the extrusive landforms. So these are more crystalline. Or we can say they are having larger crystals. And these are having comparatively smaller crystals. So the volcanic landforms again are divided on the basis of their location into the intrusive landforms and the extrusive landforms. Intrusive landforms are formed due to the cooling and solidification of a magma below the surface of the earth, while the extrusive landforms are formed due to cooling and solidification of lava above the surface of the earth. The intrusive landforms, because they are below the surface of the earth, they are having larger crystals due to the slow rate of cooling of the magma, while the extrusive landforms, they are having smaller crystals because of the faster rate of the cooling of the crystals. Now the intrusive landforms are further divided into plutonic landforms and the hypabasal landforms. Plutonic landforms are found very deep inside the earth, therefore larger crystals in the as compared to the hypabasal landforms which are found just below the surface of the earth and therefore comparatively smaller crystals. Example is granite rock is an example of an intrusive landform. Basalt, flood basalt, black cotton soil. Why it is known as black cotton soil? Because it is black in color. What is soil? It is found on the surface of the earth. Black cotton soil is made from basalt. So you remember that basalt is an example of an extrusive landforms. So with this, we will go to the next topic, that is what are the different kind of an intrusive landforms. The questions will be describe the landforms made by an volcano. You have to mention both, but you have to be very quick while discussing this. Introduction, that is intrusive landforms, extrusive landforms. Then after that, what are the different types of intrusive landforms, what are the different types of extrusive landforms. So see, on the surface of the earth, generally the topmost layer of the earth's crust, I am talking of this layer, the topmost layer of the earth's crust. That is only on the topmost layer, not deep inside. On the crust, the entire crust is covered by the sedimentary rocks. Now the sedimentary rocks are similar to the tablecloth which we put on the table. That is a very thin covering the entire surface of the earth. Why are the sedimentary rocks formed? I told you the word sedimentary means the rocks which are formed due to the breaking down of either igneous rocks or any kind of a parent rock. So obviously the first rocks to be formed on the surface of the earth were igneous rocks, and then there were the rocks were broken down by what? By our, remember the lecture of Earth's movement, by our extrusive forces, by our exogenetic forces. So you remember that lecture, exogenetic forces result into gradation, that's why they are known as denudational forces, and as a result of this they bring down the height of the surface of the earth. Endogenetic forces, mountain building. Exogenetic forces, erosion. How do erosion? It is not that the river comes and takes the Himalayas. Little by little, brick by brick, we say, or sand by sand, or particle by particle, the rock will be broken and deposited as sediments, resulting into formation of a soil. How they will be laid down? They will be laid down by the agents of erosion such as wind, such as water, rivers. Rivers bring down the soil. How is the river water? Is it very crystal clear? Just like your drinking water? No, it is muddy. It becomes more muddy during the season of floods, during the rainy season. Why? Because it is carrying more mud with it. What is this mud? This mud is nothing but sediment. When the water level decreases, the mud is deposited in the surrounding region. These are the sedimentary rocks. How are they? Generally, the sedimentary rocks are deposited in the flat, in a parallel manner. These are known as the bedding planes of the sedimentary rock. Below that lies the mantle which carries the magma, which carries the molten material known as magma. Now this molten material, when it comes out and if it solidifies before reaching the surface of the earth, it results into formation of an intrusive landforms. And this intrusive landforms, based on their shape, based on their size, are called by different names for our understanding. So when the magma comes up from below, or if it gets solidified below the surface of the earth into a large block, some magma comes up like a volcanic plug and results into formation of an volcanic mountain. It will result into formation of large amount of volcanic mountain. Now obviously this is an extrusive landform. This is just for your understanding how the volcanic mountain is formed. Some magma will go and it will solidify as a parallel to the bedding plane of a sedimentary rock. Some magma will solidify perpendicular, it will go up from here, resulting into perpendicular solidification of a bedding plane. Some magma will solidify in this kind of a shape. What is this? Bowl-like or saucer-shaped topography. Some magma will again it will go along like this, resulting into formation of an solidifies inside, some reaches outside and solidifies as a flat land known as lava plateau or lava plains. Again an extrusive landform. Some of the magma or lava goes up and solidifies as a large dome-like structure. some magma or lava will go and solidify in a lens-like format. So, based on the different shapes taken by the landforms, there are different names given to the landforms due to the solidification of magma or lava. The different names given to the landforms are: when the magma solidifies as a very large block, as a big mass of a granitic rock. Why granitic? Generally found inside the earth is granite. It is when it solidifies as a large block of magma. You can take this down. When it solidifies as a very large block of large granitic rock, which generally lies at the foot of a mountain, which is generally never exposed due to erosion on the ground surface. Why? Because to erode, to expose this structure, it is a very large structure. To expose this structure, there has to be erosion of the entire this bedding planes. Such a very large mass of an granitic rock or intrusive igneous rock, which lies deep inside the earth, generally forms the foot of a mountain, never exposed to the ground surface, is known as by the word batholith. What it is known as? Batholith. What does the word lith means? The word lith means rock. So the lith means rock. So what are the batholiths? You can take down. Batholiths are large masses of intrusive igneous rocks found deep inside the earth. They are usually made of granite, and they form the base of a mountain and are seldom exposed on the ground surface. So again I am repeating, what are batholiths? Batholiths are large mass of igneous rocks found deep inside the earth, seldom exposed to the ground surface, generally made up of granite, and they form the base of a mountain or root of a mountain surface. So the batholiths are, these are the batholiths. Then there is another definition. Another is sill. The word sill. Now, the sills are defined as the intrusive igneous rock which is parallel to the bedding plane of a sedimentary rock, which is horizontal or parallel to the bedding plane of a sedimentary rock. So the kind of a rock, intrusive igneous rock, which becomes parallel or horizontal to the bedding plane of a sedimentary rock, is known as the sill. Now look at this diagram. Where is the sill? Is it parallel to the bedding plane? No, it is vertical, perpendicular to the bedding plane. This is a rock structure which is parallel to the bedding plane. Forget about this structure I have made. So the kind of a rock structure which is parallel to the bedding plane of a sedimentary rock is known as sill. So in this diagram, this is the sill. So intrusive igneous rock which is parallel to the bedding planes of a sedimentary rock or which are horizontal are known as sills. While the other intrusive igneous rocks which are perpendicular to the bedding planes of a sedimentary rock, consider the sill is this way, which are perpendicular to the bedding planes of a sedimentary rock or which are somewhat vertical. It may be totally perpendicular or it may be somewhat vertical, are known as the word dikes. What are the dikes? The intrusive igneous landforms which are vertical or somewhat vertical, generally perpendicular to the bedding planes of the sedimentary rock is dike. Look at this diagram, find out where is this dike. This is the sediment, this is a plug, this is a flow of a lava, this is known as conduit. You forget about the middle section, but you see this landform, is it parallel to the bedding plane? No, it is perpendicular to the bedding plane of a, this is the bedding plane of sedimentary rock, this is perpendicular to the bedding plane of a sedimentary rock, it is vertical, so it is an example of an dike. One more example of a dike is here. Not perfectly perpendicular, but again it is not parallel, it is not horizontal, it is somewhat vertical. So kind of an igneous rocks in which is somewhat vertical, which is perpendicular to the bedding plane of a sedimentary rock is known as dike. The best example is this. Dike may not be exposed on the ground surface. Somewhere the dike may be exposed on the ground surface. When it is exposed on the ground surface, it forms, and if the river is flowing on from that dike, it will result into waterfall. So, what is a dike? A kind of igneous intrusion or igneous intrusive rock which is perpendicular to the bedding planes of a sedimentary rock is known as dike. The third is the fourth one is lopolith. So what is a lopolith? The lopolith is again an intrusive igneous rock, because we are doing intrusive igneous rock. It is an intrusive igneous rock which is saucer shaped or bowl shaped. How is saucer? Is saucer flat? No, saucer is somewhat curved in the between. It is like a depression. So an intrusive igneous rock which is shallow or which is having a depression which is a saucer shaped is known as lopolith. Come to this diagram. Which is the saucer shaped intrusive igneous rock? This is the saucer shaped intrusive igneous rock. So it is an example of an lopolith. Write in the blue plane so that it is easier for you to understand. So a saucer shaped or shallow basin having a depression in the middle, or a saucer shaped intrusive igneous rock is known as lopolith. So this is an example of an lopolith. Now come to next igneous rock. It is known as laccolith. What is a laccolith? The laccolith is defined as large mountain shaped intrusive igneous rock, not extrusive. Extrusive, it will become hill or a mountain, it will become a volcanic cone. So large mound of an igneous rock, large mound or mountain of an igneous rock which is having a pipe like conduit, which is having a pipe from below, is known as a laccolith. Or we can say in a simple word, that is a mushroom shaped igneous rock is known as a laccolith. Now come to this diagram. Where is the laccolith? Where is the mushroom shaped igneous rock? Which igneous rock looks like having a large mound from below? It is this. So this is an example of an laccolith. So what is laccolith? It is a mushroom shaped large mound of an igneous rock. It is a mushroom shaped large mound of an igneous rock. You correct the spelling here. Which is having a pipe like conduit or which is having a pipe from below. Now the last kind of an intrusive igneous rock, we are not referring to this one outside because they are extrusive, we are referring to only inside intrusive igneous rocks. The last kind of an intrusive igneous rock is phaccolith. What are these phaccoliths? Phaccoliths are lens shaped. These are like contact lenses, lens shaped. What do you mean by lens shaped? They are not like large mound like laccolith, but they will be having some kind of an lens shape. Lens shaped igneous rock which occupy the top of an anticline or which occupy the bottom of a syncline are known as phaccoliths. So phaccoliths are lens shaped which occupy the top of an anticline. This is an anticline structure, so which occupy the top of an anticline or bottom of a syncline are known as phaccoliths. So in this diagram, this is an phaccolith. So these are the 6 types of intrusive igneous rock. If the magma comes out and flows out as lava, it will result into formation of a volcanic mountain. So this is an extrusive igneous rock. The top of a volcanic mountain will be blown away, which is known as crater. The crater is another kind of an intrusive igneous rock, extrusive landform, or it will result into formation of a flat table-like landform which is having steep sides from below, resulting into formation of an volcanic plateau. But we are doing intrusive igneous landform. So the intrusive igneous landforms are of 6 types: batholith, sills, dikes, lopolith, laccolith, phaccolith. What is a batholith? A large mound of an igneous rock. Or we can say large mass of an igneous rock found deep inside the earth. Generally forms base of a mountain or root of a mountain. Is batholith. So this is a batholithic structure. What is a sill? Horizontal igneous rock. And parallel. Parallel to what? Bedding plane of a sedimentary rock. Rock is sill. What is a dike? Dike is perpendicular and vertical. Vertical to what? Bedding planes of sedimentary rock. What is lopolith? Lopolith, again a saucer shaped depression. What is laccolith? Mushroom shaped. But you remember it has a pipe from below. What is a phaccolith? It is a lens shaped. Intrusive igneous rock is a phaccolith. So these are the different types of an intrusive igneous rock. You can have a look at the diagram for some time, and the best thing is if you will take down this diagram. So take down this diagram. These are the different types of intrusive igneous rock formations. Just have a look at this diagram. These are different types of intrusive igneous rock formations. Okay. Before I go to the next topic, the extrusive igneous rocks. You again remember that we are doing the intrusive igneous rocks. We have finished with the intrusive igneous rocks. Now the next topic is extrusive igneous rocks. Generally, the volcanic topography on the top of the earth will look like this. What is this? It is an example of an volcanic plateau. What are these? These are examples of volcanic cones. See, any kind of a volcanic mountain is generally represented as funnel shaped mountain. Block mountain is generally represented as this way. The fold mountain is generally represented as this kind of a mountain. That means signifies different kind of a foldings inside the mountain. What does this show? That this shows that whatever, even if the mountain is a fold mountain or block mountain, due to volcanic activity, the top of a mountain has blown away, and through which the volcanic gases comes out. This is shown as a fold mountain. So any kind of a volcanic mountain will have a depression in the center of a mountain. Generally in the center of a mountain, this is known as a crater or volcanic crater. This is known as an volcanic craters. So the extrusive volcanic landforms or the extrusive volcanic landforms or the extrusive volcanic extrusive igneous rocks, we won't be defining them as an extrusive igneous rocks. We will say that they are the shapes of a different landforms, obviously made from the igneous rock. So the extrusive igneous rocks can be divided into cones, crater, plateaus, and in some cases plains. That is the volcanic plain, a flat land which is not having a steep side from below, is known as a plain, while plateau is known as a tableland. How is your table? Flat, but having very steep sides from below. So the plain region is a region which is not having a steep sides, while the plateau region is a region which is having steep sides from below. So the extrusive volcanic landforms are divided into cones, craters, plateaus, and plains. The cones, as it can be seen in the diagram, will be of different sides. So we will be further dividing the cones, then plateaus, and then plains. Now these extrusive igneous landforms, especially they are very, very important from the preliminary point of view, because they will ask you the examples of an volcanic plateaus in the world. They will give you 4 options, for example, Deccan Plateau, Iceland, Columbia Snake Plateau, and the name of any other plateau, and they will ask you which of them lies, which of them is a volcanic plateau. Or what are the different types of the cones? Obviously, why the shape of this cone is lower than this cone, or why this cone, the last one cone, is having the lowest shape than this cone, but it is having a very different shape than this cone, so resulting into different types of cones. So based on this, we will divide the extrusive igneous landforms into cones, that is volcanic cones. On the top of a cone there is a crater, volcanic plateau, and volcanic plain. What is the difference between a plateau and a plain? The difference is a flat land having a steep sides is known as a volcanic plateau. Plain is a relatively flat land without a steep side. So you don't have to remember into too much detail the plateau and the plain region. Only thing you have to remember the examples of this. The volcanic cones are further divided based on their size into ash and cinder cones, composite cones, parasitic cones, and lastly a kind of cones known as basic lava cones. So the volcanic landforms are divided, extrusive igneous volcanic landforms are divided into cones, crater, plateaus and plains. So we'll be studying these cones into detail. The cones are further divided into ash and cinder cones, composite cones,